Hi there, welcome back. This is Jane from Trio Student Support Services at Sonoma State, and we're here for our third installment of Reading Strategies for Success. So we're going to jump right in and talk about skimming. All right, so what is skimming? Skimming is a type of reading, and the purpose of that reading is to provide you kind of with an overmap or big picture, the main idea of a text before you start your journey. So if you are one of those students who tends to kind of just start at the beginning and start reading and you get lost really quickly, this is an excellent strategy. It also is going to support your efficiency and your flexibility because you will be upping your reading speed so you can get more done. You guys are busy. All right, so let's take a look at what it is. Skimming is reading very quickly to get the main idea or the gist. And when you do this, you allow your eyes to move very quickly over the text, but you don't read every word. You read quickly, you look quickly to locate specific information, but then when you find it, you slow down to read the selected sections more carefully. And this type of reading strategy works best with nonfiction or academic texts, okay? So you want to do this when you're trying to decide if careful reading would be appropriate. So in this case, maybe you are looking through a lot of resources trying to find what you need to write a specific term paper or research project. You would use skimming when you don't have enough time to read something thoroughly, or when you want to preview or survey a text before you really dig in and do your slow, careful reading. So something important, skimming is not in college designed to replace that slow, careful reading. It is actually a preliminary step that supports that. Okay, so what should you skim? You always want to start with these elements, the title and the subtitle if there is one. So I've put that in purple. The subtitle, the title gives you the topic, the subtitle gives you often a clue to the author's point of view or somehow otherwise narrows the focus. Of course, you want to read the introduction. Now, that could be one paragraph or the beginning section of several paragraphs or several pages. It may or may not be set off by a heading that formally says introduction. But in any case, here you will be finding the author's main points and the thesis or their argument. After that, I would jump to the end of the article or the text. If it's a chapter, flip to the end of that chapter, read the last section, the conclusion. Again, it might be a single paragraph or several paragraphs. And here you will see a restatement of the main idea and hopefully a summary of the key takeaways. Now, something I want to call to your attention is that by just doing this step, notice that you're exposing yourself to that main idea twice already, and you haven't even started to dig in. So you can begin to understand how this repetition and exposure to the main points is grounding you in the text with that big picture idea. In some texts, there will also be a summary, or the conclusion may be highlighted as the summary. But again, you should find the key takeaways. Additionally, if it's a textbook, you want to flip to the back to see if there are discussion questions. And importantly, if it's a text you're reading, your teacher has assigned in Canvas, check Canvas and or your course syllabus to see if your instructor has produced any discussion questions for you to answer. And again, this is going to sort of direct your focus and sharpen your purpose for reading, okay? Now, imagine it's a very long text. Suppose you have a 35 or 40 page chapter in an academic textbook, and it's going to take a while. I might break this previewing or skimming into 2 passes. So for longer readings, I would do a second skim, looking the second time through at the subheadings. Again, this is in purple because not every text has subheadings, but this is going to break the reading into smaller units and essentially outline the organization of the text. Additionally, you can take a look at the topic sentences of each paragraph. That's going to hopefully give you the main idea of each paragraph. Generally, it's the first sentence. In some instances, it might be in the second. So you'll have to kind of attend to that. Then you'd want to pay attention to any visuals. So images, you're looking for charts, graphs, tables, pictures. And you want to also read that little bit of text beneath. Those are called the captions, because it often will either identify what that visual is or somehow explain the significance of what the author is hoping you'll take away from that. And then finally, you definitely want to be very alert for special font, bold and or italic font. These are fonts that are designed for emphasis, right? So bold will often be an indication of key vocabulary or concepts or academic jargon. Jargon is sort of those specialized terms that each major or discipline uses. So the jargon for a biology student would be very different than the jargon for a political science major. Italics, also used for emphasis. It could be that this is where you're going to quickly find the titles for other works, other articles, other books, or imagine you're doing a film history course. Titles of films would likely be set off in italic. It could also be used for dialogue, or in some instances, this may be the choice the author has used to set off key vocabulary. Now, here is a hot tip. As you skim, you can use this strategy to improve your engagement and your focus. So as you're locating those subheadings, you can create questions in your mind as you're reading those different sections that you're hoping to answer. Similarly, you can use key vocabulary to create questions that you hope to answer as you move through the text. So again, let's suppose you are reading a chemistry textbook and you encounter the terms strong acids and weak acids. An example of a question you might create for yourself is, what is the difference between strong and weak acids? So to conclude this segment, I just want to repeat, skimming does not take the place of careful reading, but it is a wonderful preliminary strategy to get you grounded in the text. In our next segment, we'll talk about scanning, and then we'll wind up with the benefits of how can these strategies help you. Okay, see you next time.